Hello everyone, welcome back to my E3 coverage. Now, this is John Boy 101 once again coming at y'all with another video. And today we're going to be talking about Sony's E3 2017 conference. And before we get out of the way, I want to say that I may have come to my conclusion while making this video because this is like less than 20 minutes after the conference. So I may not have be time to collect my complete thoughts on this, but my initial thoughts were it was okay. Alright, I'm trying to decide whether it was better than Microsoft's or not. One major problem with it that was very short, and I think that it lasted about almost 60 minutes, which is really short for an E3 conference. I feel like they need to make it a little longer, maybe an extra 30 minutes, but I would say probably because of the reason that Sony didn't have a whole lot to show off this time around, which is kind of unfortunate because I'm the one that actually owns a PS4, so I was really looking forward to what I would see coming to my console, in current year and then in next year. And unfortunately, I didn't quite get that. So I'm a bit disappointed in that regard. But overall, I would say that Sony's conference was alright. I was entertained at parts. I feel like they went a little bit off they lost the plot a bit when they started showing off DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn, which is okay. The game I've heard is pretty great, but I don't think it deserved as much time as it took out of the E3, especially if it was stuck in a 60-minute time period. I feel like they should have been focused on some other things, but I guess because that game is popular, I guess they decided to do that with this console. So I don't really know. I mean, this console, the PlayStation is a great console, I'm not going to lie about that. And Sony seems to be destroying the competition here. It comes to sales and the games and the like. But one thing I will give Sony credit for that I think Microsoft did not get credit for, and I don't think Microsoft really did, is that they showed off exclusive games you can only get on the PlayStation platform. And not that Sony has any other platform, but you understand what I mean. Sony has a lot of games coming to their platform, a lot of games I can respect, such as, like I said, we have a new Uncharted game. I forgot to mention that, the Forgotten Chapter or something like that. I can't remember quite the name. Looks like a pretty interesting game. I think it's starring two female characters from previous Uncharted games, and so I guess we'll be having the story of survival on them because I guess Nathan Drake's stories ended. I'm a pretty good Uncharted fan. I'm not really like that huge into it. I got into it recently when I got my PS4, which was the Uncharted edition, and so I didn't actually I have yet to complete every single game on there, and I've yet to play 4, but I did enjoy 3 and I played a lot of it. I just gotta really get back into it now. If I want to play Uncharted the last chapter or the Forgotten Chapter, I may have to play the other 3 or the last 4 games to kind of get context on these 2 new characters. So that'll be interesting by itself. So we're talking about some of the games they showed off here. One of the 2 games that I really think stood out here, or the 3 games, was God of War 4, which was already announced last year, so I don't think that's big of a deal as people say it was. I feel like if this could have been in conjunction with what was last year's footage, which was the first thing they showed last year, I think the crowd would be a lot more excited, and I think I would be a lot more excited if we saw this last year, or if God of War's announcement was delayed till this year, because at least this year we kind of get an actual release date window, so like in 2018, so that's good. No, we got a kind of a release date. Hopefully this game doesn't get delayed for too long, but yeah, just God of War. It looks like it's played from a different perspective this time around. It's more behind, the camera's more behind Kratos instead of it being at a more neutral point of view. So I'm curious to see how that's all going to turn out. Kratos, I've never really been that great into God of War. I've always been aware of the system's existence because I didn't actually own a PS3 last generation. I never got to play any of those games, and that kind of kills me that I didn't get to play any of them because God of War is a great franchise, and so I really need to get into those games. But I was excited for what I saw, and that's really what it's all about. And then that was the second game we're talking about here is Detroit. It's like this game where you get to choose your future. So apparently this stars these series called of androids that are trying to escape human captivity or human slavery, and that they're going to try to rebel against them. And this game is based off of how you decide to go along. So if you choose to riot, you can riot. If you want to choose to be peaceful and nice, then you can do that. Or if you want to engage the police or not, or you can hide from the police or whatever to free your people. And this is actually an interesting concept, and I feel like that gives the gamers a whole new level of control. And I think that that game would be pretty great. I'm interested in it. The only problem was, I'm not even sure this is an issue, is that they had Jesse Owens in the thing. That almost caught me off guard. The character's designed exactly after Jesse Owens, and I think Jesse Owens voices him as well, which is kind of interesting. Kind of caught me off guard for a second there. But I guess that's the kind of guy Jesse Owens is. I don't know. Looks like an interesting game. Probably going to play it. But the game, the crown jewel, the send off of the conference, which is the last game they show, is Marvel's Spider-Man game. Now, Marvel's Spider-Man game is the best thing they showed off by far, bar none. Spider-Man is my fave. Okay, Spider-Man's my profile picture. He's everything. So Spider-Man is definitely the game I'm going to pick up. It's coming in 2018, which kills me because I remember it was supposed to be coming out this year, but I just, without words, Spider-Man is my favorite. Spider-Man is the top of the line character. Spider-Man is my favorite character. And seeing him played in this way, we actually kind of get I got a really good Arkham City, Arkham Asylum vibe from this game, which I really think is the intention. They pretty much took that and applied Spider-Man stuff to it, but I feel like it was just copy and paste. It seems like a lot more slow-mo is used to accommodate for like the spider sense and things like that. And so I don't think that things are just like a carbon copy. I find that Spider-Man's movement was very fluid. It was very in 60 frames per second. This game looks amazing. Spider-Man is very fluid looking. He's got a lot of interesting movement. He's a little slow, a tiny bit slow it seems, but I think that was all to show kind of like how he moves, and he moves a very interesting way. The way they use webs to take down people is pretty cool. The way you fight criminals and the like are pretty awesome. How large New York City looks, if this is actually like one of those open world Spider-Man games like Ultimate Spider-Man or anything like that, then I would be 100% satisfied with that. Ultimate Spider-Man was one of my favorite games growing up, and I'm happy to see that kind of formula translated here. And I gotta say, the story's interesting as well. We have Mr. Negative, which is a character from the comics, and he seems like he's taking over Wilson Fisk or the Kingpin's turf, and Spider-Man is defending them. And apparently Spider-Man seems like he's working for S.H.I.E.L.D. in this instance, which I think they said this is a full-grown, mature Spider-Man, so it makes total sense. But I'm really interested. I'm really interested in this Spider-Man. The only problem, I think, is his voice. The guy I think that voices Ben 10 voices him, and he's been doing that since this game called Spider-Man Unlimited, which is an app on your phone. I don't know when he decided to become the official voice actor for Spider-Man, but whatever, I'll have to get over it. It seemed like his delivery was pretty good, so I don't think anything's going to be too much of an issue with that. But this game looks awesome. This game looks badass, and I really want to play it. This game is definitely something that I'll be picking up. Spider-Man, like I said, favorite character, interesting storyline, interesting setting, which is New York City, but I think that you get to explore this gigantic city, which was one of the first shots they showed, was this giant skyline, and this game looks absolutely amazing. It just pretty much pulled the conference up for me. If this Spider-Man wasn't in this, I probably would say this conference is like a D or D-, because that's what I was feeling. Spider-Man is the saving grace of this conference for me. Not that they didn't show off some pretty great games. They showed off exclusives, and I think those exclusives are pretty cool. I think that they waddle a little bit with the VR, but I can still appreciate that they want to make sure that people in that demographic or people that play the VR console can play games for them, because I feel like they wouldn't be okay if they neglected that audience. And so the VR audience is getting some pretty cool games. Not really that into the Call of Duty that they showed off. It's Call of Duty World War II. That's cool. If you're a Call of Duty fan, good for you. But I'm just not into that. It's not my kind of game. And so, yeah, this E3, the Spider-Man saved it, but I would still say it's probably like a C or a C-. I would probably say maybe a C- at best. The shortness of the conference was really disappointing. I wish that somebody, after the Spider-Man trailer showed off, decided to talk about some of the things in the game, to show off different aspects. One thing this conference desperately needed, but I think some conferences do too much, is that they talk too much. But I think this conference needed more people talking about the game and showing off the different design aspects of the game, and showing off someone actually commentating while they're showing off these respective footages, because I want to know more about these the mechanics even placed here. Like, I wanted to know how much more the spider sense works in this new Spider-Man game, or what you're doing now with the design changes with God of War. What are all these changes adding up to, and what are they how do they change the game from previous iterations in their respective franchises? So I'm really interested in the game so far. I wish there was more context and more information being given about them. I was really interested in the exclusives. Sony showed off a lot of exclusives, and I think that is the strength of their conference. So definitely, I already own a PS4, but I think there's a good reason to buy a PS4 right now. I think that Sony did a pretty good job of showing off very awesome exclusive games. I just feel like they didn't show off enough games. It was very short, and it was very quick to the point. It was just trailer after trailer, trailer after trailer. And I really wish there was more substance there instead of just being trailers. And I think that's the reason why this conference gets a C- in my opinion. It was an interesting conference. They showed off some great games. Spider-Man looks badass. Definitely gonna buy it, but I don't think that they showed enough games to warrant a C+ or a B. So yeah, that Sony conference. I hope you guys can like, share, and comment below and tell me what you thought about this conference. What do you think about that Spider-Man game? What did you think about that God of War? What did you think about that Days Gone game? What did you think about Call of Duty? I want to hear what all your opinions are. Alright then, this is John Blade 101 everybody, and I bid y'all good day. Have a good one.